On the Table. Cultural talks through cuisine.
My name is Luiza Reis and I'm from Brazil. Oi, tudo bem? Meu nome é Luiza Reis e eu sou brasileira.
Great. So what do you do, Luisa?
I am an actress from Brazil, and I do theater and I do a little bit of film, in the arts.
So today you actually shared with me a recipe that you love. Can you tell me more about this recipe? What is this dish called?
It's called brigadeiro, like a mix of condensed milk, and you can add different things to the recipe and make it your own. But it's just by itself, it's great too.
Great. What are the actual ingredients in this dish?
In the ingredient list, we usually have condensed milk, 1 can of condensed milk, 1 tablespoon of butter, chocolate sprinkles or any other type, and 3 to 4 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. But it also depends on how dark you want the recipe to be. And I personally prefer a little bit darker because you can really taste the chocolate and it's really good. So this recipe is very, very popular in Brazil. This dessert is very common in birthday parties, and it's very easy, and it's very good, and people just love it, and it's a very popular Brazilian dish. Yeah.
Great. So where would you usually eat this?
So we usually eat it at birthday parties, but it's also very popular to see at like different holiday celebrations. So in July, there's this big holiday and parties called Festa Junina, and that's when like we eat a lot of different foods, and you probably will find brigadeiro in one of those parties. But also just like if you want an easy dessert to eat at home, that's also a great option.
Great. Do you relate to this dessert on a personal level?
So in a personal level, I would say this is like a big mark in my childhood. It just reminds me of family and like happy occasions, and it's just like family and childhood. And I also think it's just so nice because you can just add whatever you want to this recipe, and it's so easy to change and create like different flavors. So you can really be very creative with it.
Great. So speaking of Brazil, are there anywhere that us trying to be non-tourists should go that you love?
Yes, I would say in Bahia, which is like a northern state in the country. That's where like the most beautiful beaches are, and it's very clean. There's not that much pollution. It is a little bit busy because everyone from Brazil loves it, but it's a great place to go and just see the Brazilian culture, and it's a great place to go.
Amazing. So speaking of the US, would you have any tips for people who are coming to the US as immigrants?
I would say just dive in, stay open, and it's scary, but try not to be too scared. I know when I first came to the US, I was so scared, just like the language barrier, and I would say just try to dive in, that everything's going to be okay, and in that way you can connect with more people from so many different countries, not only the US, and you can really become part of this really cool community.
Great. Have you ever felt unsafe being here, especially during these times?
I personally haven't felt unsafe, but I do have friends who are from different countries, and they feel a little threatened, but it's always a very, like, you're always being cautious because you never know, and being in a different country, you don't know sometimes what could happen, and but personally I haven't, but yeah, I would say just being cautious of, like, you're always trying to follow the rules, and you're always trying to not cause any trouble so you can be okay, I guess.
Great. So while I'm making this recipe, let's talk a little bit about Brazilian theater. So what is the main difference between Brazilian theater versus American theater?
I would say musicals are a big difference. When I was still in Brazil, in my town, we didn't have a lot of theater. The big cities that have theaters like São Paulo, and so I would say musical wise, now musicals are being brought to Brazil a lot more often, and they get translated, which is really cool. But I would say that's like one of the biggest difference, is that we don't have that many musicals that started off in Brazil.
Great. Do you go back home to visit family quite often? Do your family come to visit you here in the States?
Yes, I go home to Brazil whenever, like on Christmas and like holidays, sometimes during summer break. And my mom, she also studied in the U.S. She did her master's here, so she's always visiting. So we're always going back and forth.
Great. Is there a cheers in the Brazilian language?
When you're about to eat something, or when it relates to food, you can say like bon appetite, which is just like basically like enjoy your food. But I guess in like celebrations when you're about to eat, you could say that bon appetite.